Well, because it's a lesson that's within other lessons, I've worked up to the point where the children, I've set an expectation. And so I try to communicate with the children the importance, and I try to emphasize what we're really looking at, whether we're looking at the yeast or the comparisons and things like that. So I try. If I'm not successful, you'll see that I try in a different way. I think my ability to assess quickly what is successful, what's working, what's not working. At the very beginning of the lesson, the children had come in and it was slightly out of our routine because the children normally come in and they have 10-15 minutes to relax, and what I needed to do was I needed to get them on quickly. So I knew that I could use the book at the very beginning. The Pete the Cat, they're very familiar with that, and it brings everybody together. So I have to assess. If I see that children are not focused, I need to find something that refocuses them. And that's what I do throughout. If I see that one child is not participating, I try to be aware of all the children all the time and what they're doing. Otherwise, I lose them. So I need to be conscious of what's going on all the time. And I think my ability to assess quickly and make accommodations to meet the needs of the child is really the success.
Any instructional strategies here at the table do you think were supporting students in learning?
I think what we were learning supported student learning, because the topic is always the most important thing. What the children are learning is ultimately, if it's engaging and motivating for them, they will learn. If you incorporate curriculum that children feel that it's relevant to them, meaningful to them, then they will be engaged. And it will make teaching, not really teaching, it'll make learning, the child will want to learn. In this particular lesson, it took a fair amount of organization. As I said, this lesson was within a unit of other lessons. I needed to organize myself to make the transition easy. So I knew that I wanted the children to learn language, so I started with the recipe. Then I went through the steps of what we need to do and sharing the work, everybody helping. So really I had to organize, I had to have my materials, I had to have my ingredients of the bread ready, I had to have the bread machine ready. So things like that are really, I needed to be organized. I needed to think about what I was going to do before, get organized, and make sure that everything went smoothly. Because with these children, oftentimes large gaps of time is not a good thing. You need to keep things at a really nice pace. And even when things happen, like I didn't mark down the cinnamon in the recipe, you need to be able to accommodate for that quickly and get organized and find what you need so that you don't leave that gap. You don't want big spaces because you lose the momentum of the lesson. I didn't find really any, the expectation is inherent. The children know what is expected. They know what routines we follow, how we are supposed to act. When somebody goes off a little bit, I usually wait for them to come back on. I usually express to them that I'm going to wait for them, and that makes them self-check. Oh, should I? You'll notice at the end when Arison was saying something, when he was eating inappropriately, and I said to him, well, I'll wait till you're ready. Right away he knows, oh, I'm doing something wrong. What am I doing wrong? I'm self-checking, I'm correcting. As opposed to me as a teacher saying, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that. I want him to think, what should I do? And that way he's going to remember what he should do. The students were very engaged. It was interesting for them. They know that there's sugar, they know there's cinnamon, they know that there's bread, but to actually see what's going on and to be part of the creation is very engaging for them. And working together as a group. Oftentimes in special education classrooms, we isolate children, thinking that the more work we give them, the smarter they will become. And the reality is that's not the way we learn, even as human beings. We learn from each other. And I have found the most success in my classroom by teaching my children together, because each child brings to the table something different. and everyone can learn from each other. And it makes it more fun. Nobody wants to sit by themselves and work out a puzzle or a math problem, but do it together, and it's interesting, it's engaging. I think they found it very meaningful and very relevant, because I'm sure that tomorrow, and actually in earlier, when I was speaking about the little red hen, I was talking about the bread, the children recalled that we had done this before. Last year we had talked about the little red hen, and so I'm happy to see that they remember the facts. They remember the important things about the lesson. They remember about the yeast, things like that, and that will transfer to other areas of learning. I think, well, we go from here because my children love cooking and baking, and it's always something that's out there that we can just make more and do more things. So from bread, we've already baked our cake, we've made cupcakes, we've made things like that. Really, I'd like to develop it so some of the children have basic skills to be able to feed themselves. I have a couple of students who have very challenging family situations where there are not parents at home for extended periods of time. I think it's really important that these children know what they can use to make themselves food. It doesn't have to be something where there's an oven involved or stove or something dangerous, but develop a lesson in which children can feed themselves appropriately and survival.